In order. Here's the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call, Mr. Warner. Mrs. Rupp. Mr. Meyerholtz. Here. Ms. Soucer.
Here.
Mrs. Patel.
Yeah.
Miss Klakowski.
Here.
All right. Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Do we need to move anything around?
We just have to add probably to miscellaneous business. There was an email that went out from Jeff Klein about Eagleville Ambulance District. They need one person from each political subdivision to respond for, against, or abstain. So
Okay.
we should probably do something with that.
Anybody else have anything? All right. Everybody had a chance to look over the minutes of the last meeting? And if we did, we just need a motion to
So moved.
approve. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, old business. Final reading of ordinance 2025-14, establishing DORA. Everybody understand this ordinance? Or anything else? Because this is the time and place to do it. This is going to be establishing a designated outdoor refreshment area, otherwise known as DORA, in the village of Weston. This would be for special events. Whatever we deem fit for that. There's other conversation about that. We'll just need a motion to establish it.
So moved.
We have a first, we have a second. Roll call, Mr. Warner.
Yes.
Ms. Rupp.
Yes.
Mr. Meyerholtz.
Yes.
Ms. Soucer.
Yes.
Mrs. Patel.
Yes.
Ms. Kukowski.
Yes.
All right.
We should also, council should also accept that application that goes along with it when we,
That's the one we did before.
yeah, but we just never officially accepted it.
This, the door application. This was in the meeting, folder.
Yes.
Our folder here. So this is the designated area. And I just need a motion to accept.
You'll just have to accept backdated to April 21st.
Motion to accept the application from April 21st. First, do we have a second? Roll call, Mr. Warner,
Yes.
Ms. Rupp,
Yes.
Mr. Meyerholtz,
Yes.
Ms. Soucer,
Yes.
Mrs. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Kukowski.
Yes.
Okay. That would become me. So I had the luxury of doing, along with Jessica, doing the Memorial Day service thing. For not having in a couple of years, and I can't remember, not like it's been forever, but I can't remember the last time we had it. And someone said it was like 16 or 7.
I think it was in 16 because it's when I first moved here.
And I tell you right now, for what we did and what was provided out there, I thought we did a phenomenal job. I thanked American Legion, Grand Rapids, stepping up to the plate and doing that. Most people don't understand. They did 3 services that day. Unfortunately, they did 1 parade, but they said they jumped on the float, which was great because I know there was a lot of conflict and a lot of communication between them. When are we going to do a parade? Well, I don't know. It would be nice to do a parade, but I don't know. It'd be nice to get the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts or whatever else that's out there that to help bring the stuff back because it was very memorable. We had a nice guest speaker. So it was really nice to be a part of that.
I know that they were talking about doing a subcommittee for their events. And if they get them on the ball this year and kind of like start planning it, they could probably even get the band involved.
I know, not in our school district or anything, it was always a hard thing to get the full band for something like that because they're spread out, but you can get somebody that's,
And they trade years, I think.
yeah, so, but it's early in the process to get it going, so that's key. So, other than that, that's all I kind of got right now. We'll touch base on some other stuff later. Stephanie?
Our grant writer noted that, our progress has been a little bit slow, so she identified a couple more grant opportunities. One is the cemetery grant, which we're usually aware of, so I sent that over to, Jody for the board to come up with some ideas that, they could look at doing. I think it opens July 1st. PNC provides grants, up to 15,000. And Christy and I have a Zoom meeting with them tomorrow, to kind of get a better understanding of what they would provide for, and then I'll bring the ideas back to council to kind of discuss further. And then the other one is the Walmart Spark Good Local Grant, which offers up to 5,000, and it does support municipalities. This one, I put a proposal together and sent it to Safety Committee. Christie believes it would qualify for that grant under their broadening community and disaster preparedness. And then we had a injury on one of the swings at the park that broke. I haven't gotten any documents for it, but I received a call about us paying for the medical bills on it. Usually we send stuff like that to our insurance, but I haven't received anything on that yet. So once we get that, I will forward it to them. And
Has that problem been
handle it.
resolved as far as the swing?
Yes.
Do we know what park it was at?
Old Schoolhouse Park.
Updates on OPWC and the sidewalk grant. I spoke with Bob. Apparently Kleinfelder's having some issues, which had some staff departures. I'm also having trouble getting a hold of them, to connect. But with OPWC, we don't necessarily need Kleinfelder to move anything forward with that. We will hear directly from them. Plus I have contact, I usually reach out monthly, to our district liaison to get an update on that. Hopefully we will find out in July if they are able to fully fund. They plan on fully funding it. They're just waiting on the projects to close. And I know an email just went out today from OPWC saying you need to submit your projects for funding before like June 13th so that they can close out and start their new fiscal year in July. And then the sidewalk grant, nobody has got any information on that. Other municipalities, Bob said they haven't heard anything, and we will hear directly via email from ODOT on if we got that or not. That back to, I think it was OPWC. That one has engineering. The cost estimate was 76,000. Bob pointed out that we'll have to bid that out because it's over the threshold. So we have to keep that in mind when that time comes. And the other thing was an issue with a purchase order. This is in relation to the Sports Initiative Board. They apparently ordered uniforms without a purchase order. And I told them that we wouldn't be able to proceed. They'd have to figure that out. Especially after I received a copy of an email where they had communication with the company back in February All their other purchases, they've come to council for approval for, but that one somehow slipped through the cracks. So they're gonna have to figure that one out on their own, and hopefully they have built up enough in their fund, their sports initiative fund, that they are able to cover that, because otherwise I don't know what they're gonna do, because we can't if there's no purchase order in place. And then that is all that I have.
What are the total dollars on that?
The uniforms, I don't know.
Oh, you didn't have
No.
any. I didn't know whether they tried to submit a.
No, what I did was I noticed when I was putting together, like their purchase order updates and their, fund update, I noticed, nothing has come in for uniforms like it has in the previous years. So I asked about that, and that's when it was brought up, so.
How's the fund status?
Their purchase orders are getting low, so I told them they're gonna have to have a meeting soon to, put some more into a supplies for concession stand if they need to, and then their fund, I'd have to look at the balance, but they're still pretty good. At the rate, I almost think there might be a balance at the end of the year unless they start thinking of some big expenditures. So, I mean, they have, let me pull it up. This is before, some bills come out though. There's, let's see here, there is about 19,000, but I'd say about 3,000 of that's coming out on the credit card bill that's going around for concession stand stuff, so. Yep.
Do you have anything on the 2026 estimate revenue?
Oh yeah, that's another subtopic on mine.
Yep.
So in the folder, I have our, draft of what will be sent to the county to certify our estimated revenue for 2026. I usually don't put OPWC in, but just in case, since we know the amount we should be getting and they anticipate on funding it, I did put it in this time so that we can prepare, especially if it's going to start bidding out and all that stuff. We want to make sure that that money is in place.
Refresh my memory on the total PWC.
240.
242.86.
Or two.
And then with the ball program, maybe having a rollover, we might have to add something, but I don't know if I will in this. We will just have to do it at the beginning of the year, which might hold up some things on their end. And then in general fund, obviously, I'm expecting the year-end balance to be down because of all our expenditures. We're running on old money with increases all over. And this will make appropriations kind of hard to put together, since we're used to working with about 600,000 plus. There will be cuts and hopefully no more big amendments. What I'm expecting our year-end balance was about 188,000, but I rounded it up to 20,000, just in case there's some, yeah, 200,000. Just in case there's some unknown things that maybe we don't spend money on, so. Yep. This is for review for now. If you have questions, send me an email or something, and then the next meeting, we will need to approve this so I can send it to the county.
You put it in the folder this afternoon.
Yep, yeah, in the digital one.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, we're gonna move on to the deputies here.
Apologize for our late arrival. We
It's all right,
middle of shift change.
perfectly fine.
We don't have anything new and exciting for y'all.
Okay, we do.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll let Harold take
We have
over.
had a couple of incidences behind the salt building back there. Sorry, behind where? Behind the salt building by the reservoir. Okay, yeah. That some young kids have gone back there and been tearing it up and doing donuts back there.
Okay.
We have video of it, but we can't see a license plate. So I don't know how much help that's gonna be. But we have that, and I had set up a barricade, so I gotta get the camera down and check the card and see what's on it.
Okay.
Hopefully they pulled up there over the weekend and stopped. Hopefully we can get a good picture of the license plate.
Okay.
So if we do get that information, we will be passing it on to you guys.
Okay, do you want me to start a call and report about it now, or do you want to wait till you get what you got?
We have one video. It's just, we can't see besides an assumption of what model vehicle it is and possible year, just based on the body type.
Sure.
But I can send that video over to I can't remember his name right now. Brian, yeah.
Bono?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I've sent videos before.
okay.
So I can send it to him and he can, I guess, report to whoever.
Right. I want to handle it however you guys want. If you want to gather all your information and then we can do
Okay.
follow up on it, or I can start it now.
Let me get the card out and we'll look at it tomorrow and then we'll get in contact with you guys. And if we see anything that has that vehicle on it, if there's any clips in there from that vehicle, then
Okay.
definitely will be getting in contact.
What time are they doing it?
At night.
It was at night. I want to say after midnight.
After midnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Deputy Kaiser
almost
and I are in this area till 6 a.m. tonight, so we'll keep a lookout, and then I'll put it in our pass on so everybody knows what's going on.
Okay.
I'm almost curious if it's the same people that are kind of racing out of town, going back to back.
We believe it is a what,
It's a
late 90s, early 90s Chevy,
late 2000s.
late 2000s.
Late 2000?
Chevy Silverado, 2500, silver or white, extended cab.
Possible light bar on the top, but we think that it might just be those.
Yeah, it's
lights.
got
Roof lights.
Lights on the top.
Mhm.
And it has a driver's side brake light out.
That's a stoppable offense right there.
Actually, it's not. We need one brake light.
There's a couple of them.
You can, always been, you only need one tail light, one brake light. We can stop for it, identify and give, and tell them there's a equipment issue that they need to fix. It's one headlight that is a full violation.
Shut.
I believe the lights.
Got a ticket for only having one tail.
I'm sorry, sir.
The headlights and the fog lights and the light bar or the lights on the top are all LED.
Oh, there we go.
I think that's what made the camera hard to catch because the light was bouncing off. Mhm.
Late 2000 Chevy Silverado, 2500, either silver or white, LED lights with a driver's side brake light out.
Yep.
And it's just the one car that's doing it?
It's the only one that we've caught back there so far.
Have they done damage?
Oh, they tore it up back there.
Like the ground or?
The ground, yeah, they've torn up the ground. Like they did 2 donuts back there on that video. And then they've been back there since then. So I'm hoping it's on this video now, or on the video feed now. So we'll know for sure exactly what time they were doing it. Because that was on a Friday. It was a Friday, yeah, because it was on a Friday, it was a Friday night. They did it the last time. It was the day before we did the,
Trash pickup?
trash pickup. The day before we did heavy trash, so on the 16th of
May,
May.
5/16.
Yep.
Maybe somebody that visits the reservoir, quite honestly, because I remember pulling in Thursday night out there. There was a white Chevy, big 3/4 ton truck sitting there.
Has to be somebody knows it, because if you didn't know that area, you wouldn't want to drive back there.
Yeah.
There's actually
they were-
quite a few cars that go all the way back there and it's odd, like, why would you need to go back there? But,
Go back there and go fishing.
well, no, past
It's past.
past the salt building back there. So there's a couple garages. Mhm.
They'll drive. We just had a guy try to drive all the way back there with a heavy truck and got stuck in the mud.
Well, they're not driving back there anymore. So. There.
All right.
And then also just keep an eye of people coming in and out of town. They have loud mufflers and they're racing down Center Street.
Is that season?
Motorcycles the other day.
No. I heard about it, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was yesterday when I was on a walk, there was 3 that came into town and one of them popped a
Really?
mealy, yeah.
Well, there was probably, I don't know how many, maybe Craig knew how many went through that stop sign down there.
I was under the impression that that was a
Parade?
I thought it was a church event. Wasn't the Methodist Church doing something?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Wasn't there like a poker run or something?
Yeah,
I remember seeing a flyer somewhere on Facebook for a local poker run.
and I thought that the Methodist Church had stopped there. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're,
but they should still stop at the stop sign.
They should, it's just one giant parade right on.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put a note in that.
I have, if I may interrupt, I do have something for the deputy. I'll like to add on to what Ashley said. It's 3 different vehicles. There's a red Mitsubishi, there's a black sedan, and a brownish maroon pickup truck. That's who you hear in the middle of the night racing around town.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was listening. Can you tell me those vehicles one more time?
Yes, it's a red Mitsubishi. It's a older style, black sedan, and a maroon pickup truck, extended cab.
The Ford.
That Dodge.
No, it's a Ford.
Dodge.
It's a Ford.
Okay. 'Cause there was a Dodge that drives around here that's black that has a really loud.
The Ford's like the maroon color.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I shall let everybody know.
All
Do
right.
our best.
Thank you.
Lots of area, very few deputies.
Yeah, then you went for a month or 3 months, you didn't have any reports. Now you got lots of work. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Harold on the maintenance.
Okay, well, I'm sure everybody's probably seen barrel down in the middle of Main Street down there. Had a manhole cover break and fall into the catch basin. So I went and got a new manhole cover, found out when I took the one with me that that manhole cover was not road certified. So it was better than the actual manhole covers that are supposed to be on the road. So I went and picked up a new manhole cover and a new
Bring.
Frame.
the frame for it. And we have to have, JPX put it in. So I have the quote
In the folder.
in the folder to get that taken care of. And I'm assuming they're gonna do a square like they did down here on Locust Street. So instead of just doing a round one, they're probably gonna just cut it all out, fix what needs to be fixed underneath it, and then level it off with the road and then concrete the whole thing.
Is it just the frame that's broken or is the collar, the concrete riser?
The collar can't be used with the ones that we have.
Okay. That's what I
And we
want.
have 2 more, the same 2 at the same road, there's 2 more of them that are the same exact.
Height.
They're underrated.
Yeah, they're underrated and it had looked like the pieces that we had, it looked like they were broke. They've been broke for quite a while and then having a dump truck or not a dump truck, but a crash truck run over top of it just caused it to finish breaking and fall into the catch basin. So, but I went and signed the thing today for them to get started on it. So I'm waiting from Matt to let me know when they are exactly gonna do that. So it should be by the end of the calendar. So as soon as they can get their crew together to go do it, they will have it done.
And then the other 2, we're going to have to figure out through Public Works if and when.
Yeah. So,
So
So
Yep. And anything else?
all that. Other than, the flags been, or the banners were put up as promised. Yes. Oh,
The flags, moving the flags. Did you ask Stephanie about that?
Asked her about that, but, I don't think there's enough. After looking at the poles, I don't think there's enough on the other side of the road from down by Gary's mom's house from the church this way. So we go like probably 700-800 feet, almost 1,000 feet without a pole on the other side of the road. So
Mhm.
I'll just fix them up and put them on the backside and then just put banners up on the backside of the poles next year. So we'll just leave them all.
Did we get all of them put up that we needed
Yes,
to?
they are all put up.
And we got more probably.
We have 2 more for 4th of July coming.
What I was talking about was the flags on Center Street. If you ever pay attention, they're always like flopped over because of the wind.
Mhm.
So one day when we were talking and I was like, I wonder if we can put them on the other side. So the wind's going the opposite direction. So you're not constantly, I know in the past, I picked up numerous of flags off the ground. So I was like, I wonder if there's a way that we can just switch them to the other side. But
I mean, I can look at it more and we can see what it's. See what it looks like.
The unfortunate thing, we can't control the wind.
yeah,
But if the wind's blowing out of the west, the flags are gonna flow, they're gonna flow in the right direction and they're not gonna get all tangled up in
Yeah.
telephone poles. That was the concern on that one, but I mean, I'll just have to look at it and see how many flags we got going on the road and see how many telephone poles are on the other side. And if we can, if there's enough telephone poles and for the flags that we have, we might be able to just move them over there.
Anything else for Harold? All right, move on to zoning. Ken?
Page 21st, I wrote a synopsis of the rezoning applications. The zoning commission at the meeting that night for the roll-off container storage that was completed. There was no legal stand behind it, and that was a very well ran meeting. Everything about it. Everybody was cool, calm, and collected. Nobody was in somebody's face or anything, but it was a very good public hearing, I thought, all the way around. May 27th, I signed a fence permit for a new house on Taylor Street. I also gave Stephanie a list of a half dozen properties that needed grass cutting, one with a vehicle on Jackson, one for junk in the boulevard. May 28th, I spoke with the property owner on Oak Street regarding keeping chickens and the placement of a shed on the property. And then today, I went out again and talked just to place the coop far enough away from the road. It was where she had it was going to be too close to the road. I was told to move it back about 3 or 4 feet. She'd be fine. So going to do that. Received a call from the owner of one of the houses on Main Street that I issued a notice of violation regarding a grass issue. And he explained that number one, he didn't get the first letter. And Stephanie and I were talking about today, we've been having a big problem with, we give people 5 days to respond and they might not get the letter for 6 or 7 days. So it's a bit of a catch-22. And we were talking, maybe we'll just quit going through the mail and just post everything on the doors on the day that, we write it up, we'll just post it on the door, and that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Gave Stephanie a list of 2 properties with brush in the boulevard today. 3 properties with trash or junk in the boulevard, 1 property that needs weeds cut, and a property with building in disrepair. And other than that, the one item that we have, and I think it's on your notes, is requesting a nuisance for the property down on Main Street, west side of the road, just north of the ditch. Harold's had to cut that grass about 6 or 7 times.
That's a state issue that it's a you have to go through the process.
Having to do something, and I don't know the whole policy or whole way a nuisance policy comes about or is handled. But I mean, we can continue to cut that grass forever.
Correct, and it goes towards taxes like it did and everything else,
So
and
however you guys wish to look at it is.
yeah, I'm sure Paul can probably send another letter and.
On Main Street.
'cause
Yeah,
I
the
was
last time, so the property owner is deceased. So the last time,
Declared it a nuisance.
Correct.
Yeah.
no, that's why it's on the, not
I
this.
thought we did it last year.
You do.
No, we just do the grass notices, but we've never officially declared this one a nuisance.
I thought it was because of the door issues and everything else.
No, that was the one,
Can't
the
see
other
the
one.
door, can you?
That's the one that's
This
next
must
to
be a different
Howard.
Property then.
This one,
Yeah.
I remember we actually had to call the sheriff on,
Is it the Jeffers?
Cyrus's.
Cyrus's that used to be on Oak Street.
We called the sheriff on it because the neighbor complained that she was seeing a lot of movement of the stuff in the backyard. And the sheriff came out and saw that somebody had been like in and out of the house and had broken the back door. So we called it then. I thought
Yeah, I looked back at the,
No, if the owner is deceased, we were advised.
well, that was with the other, so what this will do is Paul can start a process to see if he can find family members.
I thought we did and they wanted nothing to do with them.
No,
That's the one on the.
that's the other one, the other Main
We
Street
had
one.
a couple.
Mhm.
Okay.
So this one, I think it was a possible to declare a nuisance, but then it never moved forward because it was just the grass at the time. But this would start maybe Paul hunting
So is
down.
this gonna go back to a committee? Or can we?
No, you
make it
just
a-
have to
You just declare.
declare it a nuisance so Paul can start his process.
That was your recommendation to start? Okay. So we have a,
20 more years until it goes to sheriff auction.
Should be soon because the property tax hasn't been paid since 2020.
all right. So we got
This year.
we got recommendation to declare this a nuisance property. I just need a motion.
So moved.
We have a first, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, roll call. Mr. Warner,
Yes.
Ms. Rupp.
Yes.
Mr. Meyerholz. Ms. Susan,
Yes.
Mrs. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Kukowski.
Yes.
All right, we'll start that process.
Okay.
Committee reports. Community development from 5:20.
Okay. In attendance was Ashley Patel, Brittany Kukowski, and myself. Previous meeting minutes were approved unanimously. Discussed having a potential 50-50 split for Dora cups. Village pays for the first 1,000 in one color for $228.57 plus shipping. Business is responsible for purchase of cups after the first 500 provided to the two. That was a suggestion. We suggest to create a special committee to form a tree board in hopes of having tree board established by October's meeting so that Stephanie from the Urban Forestry can come and guide the board in creating an ordinance that fits our village. We've attempted to send a few ordinance by now and they need to be a little bit more drove toward our village itself. Referring to the Weston Thrive and Revive, the committee would like to recommend establishing a downtown business district from Taylor to Cherry Center Street, making it easier to act on a Thrive and Revive policies and possibly receive applicable grants. T-Mobile Hometown Grant, waiting on a final decision on removal of the old bus garage foundation. We also discussed including Parks and Recs in the decision-making for grant possibilities. We are still reviewing the subdivision code. We invited Ken and he has responded. He will be attending our July 9th meeting. Did you see that we changed? Is that okay?
That's what I was gonna say. The June meeting is still happening?
Mm-mm. We're rescheduling the June meeting. No,
July.
the July
Yes.
meeting is just being moved.
Scheduled. Okay, so that one
We
is
tried to make a day where Ken could come rather than,
Tuesdays.
July 9th, and then June meeting's still good.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay,
5 to.
all right, that's what I wanted to make sure.
5:30, because that's what Ken's doing.
Okay,
And we also discussed possible industrial areas in the village. So actionable items are just inquire about what line item money for door cups could possibly come from. Ask Parks and Recs Board if they would be willing to split a cup cost. And we are requesting a list of last year's swag for Volunteer Day. We discussed having our Volunteer Appreciation Day on the last farmer's market, anything with wheels in September on the 20th. That we have thrown that out. And that's it.
So actual item
There's
on the
really,
door cups.
so there's a couple, we could take it, we have a marketing line item. I usually order our pens out of there and I think our pens are still pretty good, so.
We'll have to, this is twice she came, so I want to make sure she only lives to one at a time.
Full scuffle here that I-
So it's like,
So you're the one.
There's also, we also have a other line item that just stuff that we don't expect, to like, that are like usual expenditures, would come from, so we could take it out of that one. Or if you, if Parks and Rec is interested in helping split, we can figure something out. So really it's, if Parks and Rec wants to help with that, I can do that part and then the other half I can figure out. So
okay.
This stuff needs to be bought before this, obviously. It probably needs something to be approved today in order to get the ball rolling, right? Because when is an event that you get,
July 19th.
so
yeah, and with them
Process needs to happen
being,
now.
with them being personalized, so I think what you'll need to do is, I guess, figure out, if your, suggestion is what council wants to do, yeah. And then we can kind of go from there on how it's split.
so
Parks and Rec has a meeting, what, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So, yeah,
I don't know if that'll get us the end of the next meeting. After they have their meeting, our next meeting to get the process started, so we can have them, I don't know what, printing and all that other stuff.
Why don't
I don't really know
we,
either.
we just have to agree on a line item, right?
no, not really, that's just that's on my end.
That we are at least going to pay for half of the door cups. Right?
Or that your first 1,000, right? Is that how?
It's the
I read-
first 1,000, but
First 1,000, okay.
and
That's
then,
kind of how the number, it went,
That was like the smallest.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get like 100 out of the
Yeah,
what she had sent us.
now are these dated? Anybody, I mean, so,
they'll just have that logo that's in that application
Okay.
on it.
and we were thinking of using the dark green color from our logo, like on the mug.
It's 1,000.
Oh, it's
That's on
the
the tree.
Yeah, the dark green
In my
with the
tent.
cup
Right.
and the one color.
But it's
Just one color.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more expensive than the
Right.
color and we're like, well, the dark green will stand out against whatever's in it, so.
so we have a motion to buy the first 1,000,
Yes. For half, at least half of.
half, but we have to probably have to put the order in for the 1,000.
Okay.
I think we can amend it with the,
I guess what
Parks and
can
Rec.
be is Parks and Rec will just, after their meeting that evening or that next day, someone can just send me an email saying yes or no, and then I can make the purchase order out and get them ordered.
do we have a motion? We have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Anything else?
Along with that, after they use up their cups, then we just give them our logo and then they have to buy their own.
I'm hoping we have to buy more cups, but I'm hoping we don't. I don't know, because I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that somebody else has to buy the cups.
So if
Yeah,
Parks
that's
and
what-
Rec
The
does,
vendor would buy more.
So like
Mhm.
Horns and Halos will get the logo and then they have to buy their
So if they
own.
run out of the first 1,000, then Horns and Halo.
500.
They're 500
because
when they
it's
have to do
500 to
it.
each business.
Okay.
So if Parks and Rec says they don't want to pay for it, then we're paying the full
Probably.
$600.
No, it's
No,
$58.57 plus shipping.
Oh, for the,
Five-
I thought that was for 500.
No, five-
Oh, that's for the full 1,000.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cheap.
There were a couple other things that,
I have a quick question about that. I was asked about the Dora cups. When the vendors have to purchase them, can they add their logo also, or do we not allow that?
No, they can't.
They cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on this?
yes. We need to create a special committee if we want to for the tree board. We did it for the Sports Initiative Board to make it easier for people to come to a meeting that was focused entirely on the creation of that board. So I think this would make it really easy. We've gone over it quite a bit in community development and the village is on board with creating it. So I think it's the next step is to have a special committee where it's a focused meeting for the formation of that board.
And this committee is going to be comprised of,
Volunteers?
Wait,
3 of them.
The special committee will be council members.
Yeah,
right, that's why I'm
The
like,
tree board will be.
I
actually
know.
volunteers.
That's where I'm like,
so
we gotta find people that want to participate.
Mm-hmm.
we should advertise.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we haven't actually advertised yet, so maybe we could start with that.
That's what I was.
That sounds
We're going to need a guideline first of all.
Yep, create the special committees and then they have a separate meeting day and time and then advertise for interested community members to attend that meeting that's specifically just for the tree board.
We can't just keep this on community development.
I think
They would have to come to the entire community development meeting and that would take up our entire time. So the way that we did it for Sports Initiative Board really worked where we had that special ball committee that they had meetings where it was just people interested in serving on the ball board.
the difference,
No.
I think the difference would be is, one is they're going to be using our fundage, where the Sports Initiative Board was solely trying to go out on their own,
Mhm.
right?
no, it's, no, I'm sorry. Sports Initiative, the special committee. So we are talking about 2 different committees and we are getting them very confused. The special committee is 3 council members.
Mhm.
Basically, they're saying they want 3 council members to just form the tree committee.
Okay.
The ball board was formed not by people that wanted to be on the ball board, but because we had to start from scratch entirely, budget, everything. We had to start and build from scratch. So that was the 3 council members because that was a big mess to clean up. And it took over a year to do that. We just decided that. So your special committee for the tree would be 3 council members. You would pick, I'd assign the chair. And then when they're done with it, they can dissipate it. But those 3 council members would have an extra meeting per month until the tree board, which they have requirements through Stephanie and the Arbor Foundation, of who sits on that board, community members.
Oh, we don't have requirements for that. We decide that. Like, it can be,
The tree committee decides who's,
like,
what it's comprised of.
the council decides who can be on the board. Like Parks and Rec, we created that ordinance ourselves stating that 1 person from the township can be on the board. So we can create the tree commission ordinance stating that we can have 3 people from the township and 3 people from the village. We just need to know who's interested. Like, we don't have requirements on who's on the board. We just need
I
volunteers.
thought there was like one
Mm-mm.
person of council or something like that. Like,
So
That worked for a couple different villages.
Village then?
Yeah, that worked for a couple different villages where they allowed council members to be on the tree commission, but it doesn't necessarily have to be our village. We can have a complete citizen-run board.
No,
to be
It would
a
be-
tree city, you
Oh.
have to have a board.
Yeah, I know that, but
it'd be a branch from the community development, basically.
just another board.
Well, I mean, this particular board is going to be potentially using funds from the village
That's what I'm saying.
and
No,
I'm not trying to
that's-
dissipate from the sports initiative. They had a line of, their whole vision was to take that over.
Take
right?
it away.
And
Well, that's what the special committee decided. Our first meeting was, what do we do? Do we keep it as a village run?
Mhm.
Or do we let them become a 501c3? Like
sure,
that, it didn't start that they were gonna be on their own. We decided.
okay, fair enough. But I would want to make sure whomever's on this board is comprised of at least a couple council members or at least somebody from council to help facilitate.
Because they're spending,
They're spending our money, they're asking our administrator his opinions on
We're not
whatever.
gonna spend it without our approval.
Difference between that and Parks and Rec.
From my understanding, it won't be an extension of community development. It will be a board like Parks and Rec
Mhm.
that is under the village.
I'm talking about just to start out with, I mean,
That
we're
would,
trying to get a sub thing started to establish something,
a special committee.
then to go into a board,
to elect or
to elect or to find a board. We have to start that, so. Is this something you said is gonna take too long at community development to run through all the stuff?
I just think that it would be a lot more, like, people aren't coming to our community development meetings now. So I,
You should have plenty of time to talk about the trees. I'm just joking.
talking about Dora.
Well, door's done. Door's done.
I think it would really be beneficial to have a focused meeting where people know they're coming just for that. They don't have to sit through an entire agenda. It's literally just that.
You guys want to do the board, that's on you guys. I mean, I'm not gonna dictate to somebody.
Just, or completely honest, I'm not interested in
And that's the
taking,
meeting.
yeah. I mean, she's interested in having this tree board. We as a community development members are trying to help her with that, but no, we're not signing up to
Right.
contribute.
So
I'm sorry to say it in that fashion.
my thought, I hear what you're saying, that you think the community will show up to a tree meeting instead of a community development meeting because of the agenda. But you guys have the choice to let them speak at the beginning of the meeting so they don't have to sit through the whole meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah, because didn't you do that a few meetings ago when the forestry lady attended?
Normally when there are guests.
Just like the deputies coming in, we try to give, or, you know,
I think it's up to you guys to decide if you guys want to form another board, or if you just want to take it on to the community development a couple more times to at least discuss.
We gave ourselves till October to have the people
yeah.
lined up that would be forming the tree commission, to have the citizens, the volunteer citizens lined up that would form the tree commission. We gave us till October to find them.
Cause I don't think Stephanie.
what is the special
wanted
committee
us
actually doing
do
to
it.
find tree board members? Other than just advertising on social media, which we could do.
Yeah, and we haven't done that yet.
Maybe,
Right.
maybe the verbiage isn't correct then. That was just a suggestion,
Yes, this is deciding if,
right? I mean,
which,
This is to get our tree city this year. If we don't have it by October, then we don't not get it. We just don't get it till next year.
yeah,
I think it's, for me, you can always take a vote if you want on whether we want a special committee or not, and that makes this process pretty simple.
can we take it back to our own committee and talk about it next time like, and try to,
So here's my
Really want
problem. I
then?
think that we're going to be having the right information, either discussed to vote on it I think we
As far
can,
as the special, not the board, the
Right, the
special
board.
committee.
the special committee, you guys can do anything you guys want to do. You guys want to,
Yeah, because I want more clarification on the difference between a board and a commission.
None. I Googled it. It's just in
Now,
Ohio.
Google's not always right.
It's just in
compared to
Ohio for whatever
that's good.
reason. They prefer that it's called a commission instead of a board. And there's literally no difference. They just want it to be uniform amongst all the Tree City places.
But my main concern is we're forming another board for the village. I mean,
Yes.
I understand the tree.
And
It's another.
I will remind all of council that we decided to pursue this because we do not meet the requirements imposed upon us by the state bill that was passed early in the year, where we don't provide a life improvement.
I don't think anybody here has an issue with moving forward to the Tree City.
I just want to remind,
I know.
That's not the issue.
It's forming something that don't have all the right information.
right, that would be the.
I think that we should, I think
I
it
think should go back,
advertised on social media
I think so too.
and then
put on a first agenda, ticket on the community development.
and on the
We
community.
gotta find some takers or
I think we
somebody
need
to
to find who's
participate.
interested first.
I think we should go back to community development. Have Stephanie write something up with advertising on the,
You know,
on the-
come to, we will have a special section for you, at the June,
Mhm.
redevelopment meeting.
Fine.
If you're interested, email or
Yep.
come to the meeting and then you guys can,
you guys run the.
That's what-
there was, if there's not a peep, then you could probably
We think that.
rethink and
Yeah.
that special committee idea.
Yeah. I totally agree.
There was also how do we, like, reestablishing a business district, like making one official?
Isn't it zoned?
I was gonna say, that's, cause it is already zoned that
Meeting
commercial
right here.
business district.
But we were thinking more of like just Main Street and not the rest of stuff.
I'm confused of what you're referring to.
Not zoning issues.
I understand that, but what are you referring to?
Taylor Street on Main Street, like Taylor and Main, down to here, Cherry Center.
Do you wanted to,
Like have it officially established as a downtown business district.
for what reason?
Because then you can write ordinances requiring businesses inside of a downtown business district have to maintain a proper front.
Oh, very good.
So
I like that idea.
it's step one, but I'm not sure how to go about that. Or if it's necessary, could we create something that's just based around the,
But we can't just do that, just.
Not willy-nilly. I'll tell you that. I agree with it, but that's a good way to lose business too.
Is that what
And
Grand
that's what
Rapids?
you gotta be very careful of.
Cause the businesses in Grand Rapids, even if they close, they have to maintain their storefront. I have not looked at their ordinances.
that's what I was kind of thinking. Like the way that I'm seeing it right now, we don't have business anyway.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the abandoned, the
We're
buildings.
going
that are not
after
being
like
used.
the Thrive and Revive thing.
Well, the Thrive and Revive was for blight, residential blight.
It was,
I think
it was for all.
No, there's a whole,
Residential and a commercial.
so, yeah, section in it.
That specifically to take care of those, there was, it might have been before your time, maybe before yours, I don't know. Jessica might remember when Penny came and
That was-
presented an ordinance.
That was Ashley and I.
That was long ago.
Yeah.
So there is a draft ordinance that a resident had proposed that might address that. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Again.
And it might also be in old folders too, if you go back.
All right.
I would be very, very careful
Mhm.
because there's one way to do it where we're providing the grant process or whatever for them to apply and do it, rather than saying you got to do it or whatever. That's.
And the
that's where
one-
there's
It was,
And the one that Penny had was,
and he was saying that there was a penalty.
yeah, there was a
Yeah,
penalty.
and that's, to me, that's not good.
Yeah. I
Who are we
would,
worried? I mean, what are we?
it's something to consider. We just need to have the space that the ordinance would be applying to defined. We need the space that the grant would be applying to defined. And currently, we can't just say the downtown commercial.
Oh, I get it now. It doesn't specify that, it just says commercial, but it doesn't spell out that it's
A business.
got active
Yeah.
businesses in it. That makes sense.
Like it needs a defined,
And it would definitely help us get grants a little bit faster for downtown.
Was that a suggestion from Christie?
mm-mm. It's just something that I thought of because technically the old Crescent offices over here are labeled commercial. So anything that we say applies to a business in the downtown commercial district would apply to them as well, but they're a residential looking house, like they're not a shop front. So that's why I was like, we need to define the space for shop.
I mean, they don't fit into what I think Penny's vision was. I think Penny's vision was, and the way I understood it was, we're talking about just the buildings that are owned, and they're not doing anything downstairs.
They're empty, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be also a good question for Ken at that meeting that he attends.
Okay.
He might be able to understand it better. It is a little confusing.
Some would dispute the fact that the buildings are not being used. And if I owned a building downtown and somebody tried to tell me what to do with it, there'd be some issues. Especially if I'm using it for storage or anything of that nature, which I do know there's a couple of buildings that are utilized for that.
The only thing, like, I guess all of us would want them to do is at least make it look pretty outside.
Like
I
I
think
said,
that's what Penny was talking.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just gonna keep this back at community development. Then you're gonna draw up that old thing that she found, right? Or
Yep, I'll
you did
send it
and
to
send
him.
everybody. If not, they can look in the folder.
And that last bullet on there said requesting a list of last year's swag for volunteer day.
Yeah. Remember
We didn't have a volunteer day.
you had put stuff on a cart and you were gonna send it to us.
Oh, that was when Jessica was working on it. So there was like a wish list.
Yeah.
Ideas. Okay.
Can you make sure that on the agenda for when Ken's gonna be in community development, it's noted to ask him about?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna have a park and rec one from 521.
So we just had a quick meeting on 521 to discuss the quotation for the electricity being added at Schoolyard Park, which I believe you guys all saw at your last council meeting. Is that not true? Didn't we have that quote at the last council meeting?
No, it was, I think went to Public Works. It was available. Yeah.
Folder.
I think that's when we received it, was at that last council meeting, but it was supposed to go to Public
Okay.
Works.
It was never
Well, it was
moved
like
to
that
public
day or
works.
whatever. Anyhow, the quote, we just had a meeting quick to talk about the quote, which was to have Deschler Electric.
Yeah.
They can run the power from the pole to basically the building, but that does not include the meter socket or anything past the meter socket. So at that time, Stephanie had informed me that the current meter that we have at Merrill Park, Harold has to turn on if anybody wants to use it.
Yeah.
According to that meter, the last time it was either installed or reset, it has used 2 kilowatt hours of electricity. The village is paying $81 a month to have that. So with council's blessing, I would like to get a hold of the Toledo Edison rep for the village. Talk with them about kicking in the meter socket and the installation at Schoolyard Park and not charging us for either one. I think that's ridiculous that we're paying. And I do know from past experience that Edison does do that stuff for free. I cannot currently get your rep's name through my representative. I have to go through an industrial rep because I have primary metering.
I'll give you the dude that I talked to.
Yeah, because Stephanie didn't know. We've looked and we've asked a couple times, but nobody seems to
I'll
know.
give you his name and contact information.
Then you'll bring whatever you find back to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get it given to the village. I mean, it's ridiculous that we're paying $81 a month and we use the thing 2 kilowatt hours.
We pay a lot more than that on other meters that.
Yeah, I know, I get that, but I,
Well, no, I mean, we have a meter down there at, we have a meter right here for a thing I'm sure we probably pay service for. Not this.
some of that stuff should
right out here.
be looked at. I mean, that's, I don't know what it totals up for you guys, but you know, there's strings to pull and
Okay.
that was really all I had.
All right. Planning commission. Oh, that would be me.
What?
Who?
No, I just have questions
Okay.
about that situation.
Go ahead.
Well, it was in our folder, the quote, but we didn't know why it was in our folder because we are not abreast of the situation because it was in Parks and Rec. So Public Works is under the understanding that it's all in Parks and Rec. Does the electric fall under lands and buildings?
Like the buildings.
Yes.
It should be in Public Works, like
There should have been two quotes in Public Works.
there's
One,
electric for the ball
yeah,
and then there's electric.
the one was for the bus garage situation.
Yeah, that one we knew. The one for the other, we decided was in our folder by mistake because it hadn't been sent to us.
It had not, so it has not been voted on to be moved to public.
Right.
So we're gonna vote on to move it to public works on.
Well,
That way.
or what
Okay.
he's asking is that we vote to.
We don't have anything ready to vote on.
Mhm.
So I guess my question is, where's it going? Who's handling it? We have
Sounds
to
like
decide.
Doug's handling it. Doug's gonna handle it on behalf of Parks and Rec too.
And then when he comes up with something, then it'll go back to public works for because it's considered lands and buildings.
That was I'm like, wait, logistically, where is this? And
Right. We had the planning commission. We had, that's public works. So I'm looking, I'm on the wrong PW. There we are. We had some people in the audience was, Tom Spore. Shad Kendall, Bill Barnhart, Rob Meyerholtz, Ashton Coleman, John Newmister, which is the guy that we were having a meeting for anyways, Joseph Can, Mark Trumbull, Shirley Moore, Jesse Kendall, Harold Kendall, Erica Rupp, myself, and then Bob Desmond. The planning commission heard all the wants and needs of both neighboring property owners and the property owner that really wanted the variance. John Newmister addressed with his letter concern. It's in the folder that we had. It was a nice little presentation of why he wanted to do it. We listened to Ken Taylor on the zoning concerns. Once we move that into established a rezone for that, it opened up the floodgates to not just one or two items. It could have been whatever. Plus there was no access for egress and everything established for that. Thomas Spore pled his case. He also wrote a letter to the commission. And we listened to everybody's things and we determined that it was not able to be rezoned because it didn't meet the requirements. And that was the purpose of having the public meeting, to hear also their case, the neighbors' cases, then our case as far as the zoning committee, the planning commission for that. And it didn't meet nothing. So we basically declined his rezone request. So
That's the guy on Silver Street, right?
that's the guy on Main Street that wanted the dumpster roll-off container.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, that one's coming up in July.
Yeah, that one's next. So Then we had a public works meeting on 5/27.
In attendance with myself, Jessica Fusa, Erica Root, Doug Boggs, Rachel Kopsky, Meyer Holtz. We reviewed the letter by Paul Scaff to the property owners for the Sycamore project. We revised that letter and agreed to go with the revision letter, which was a little bit more easier to read. Just so we're clear, and Stephanie and I had emails about this week, who gets the letter? It's the residents on Sycamore.
It would be the
So
residents in that corridor block, I'm sure.
that runs from beach to the ditch, right?
Right.
So you have Sycamore property owners and Taylor Street.
That's
So
Not
all
the other
those-
half of Sycamore.
not the,
It's the adjoining properties of the project.
Of that alley or whatever that runs through there. That's what I wanted to double check.
Just the alley.
So I'll send that out this week then, now that I know for sure.
and you were gonna add a,
A response section. Yep.
we discussed the catch basin and problems regarding drainage in the area of Washington Street. Harold was going to clean the catch basin near Brown Lane. We'll look at the draining issue. We're gonna have Cam Tech come out as well. The committee has agreed that Washington Street does need repaving, but will wait until the next Public Works meeting to discuss drainage issues before bringing that to council to approve repaving of Washington Street. Rob had brought up concerns over the thickness of the current road. Harold said that he would investigate that further. Bob Desmond will be in attendance at the next meeting. We also discussed the widening of the turn from Oak and Silver Street and discussed putting in stone and then possibly adding concrete to that area as well. And Harold thought that might be something you could do. We didn't. Actionable items. So I'm going to ask Brittany to explain the Pocket Prairie, if you don't mind.
Yes, I was not sure which committee it was still in because it wasn't on anybody's agenda. So I asked Public Works if it was on their committee still, and they thought it was on community development. But when I was researching the Pocket Prairie and I was discussing with Chris Smalley from the county park district, he suggested the stewardship program with partnership with Lucas County Park District for the Toledo Metro Parks, where they provide volunteers, they provide a plan, and they come out and basically just do like a little park in your space. They've had a lot of success with it in different areas in Lucas County. And they suggested us using the Pocket Prairie as a stewardship program for them. So I was thinking maybe we could do that this year, take something off Harold's plate and have somebody take care of it for us.
So we're asking for that to be moved to community development. Ash Street extension, to obtain a quote. Harold had done some stone in the area. Harold had requested we obtain a quote to asphalt to assess possibilities of this area to put on the agenda, at least to obtain a quote. And so we would like to move that to administrative process for further discussion. And then the last actual item is the old Russ Garage demolition. So we've already approved to demolish it. Now we need to approve demolishing it, including the floor. And also with the quote from AE Electric for moving the electric and the grading, seating, and unexpected expenses. We came up with $14,975. I think we could just round that up to 15,000.
So you have AE Electric as the,
On my, I know, on my thing, I had Schick Electric.
that's what we have to vote on too, because I know we had two quotes.
So AE is the quote you're going with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there quite a difference?
No, I think they were.
$600.
Yeah, I was gonna say like.
$650.
Okay, so we got a couple actual items. We need to move forward on the demolition of the bus garage, including the floor and the adding of the electric, what it needs to have to move forward. And so we just need a motion to approve that for the total all in for 15,000.
Yeah, I got one question, Harold. Did JPX, did they include seeding and grading? It was just grading, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was it total grading?
I thought it was, I can't remember, but I remember
It
looking,
wasn't fine
Yeah.
grading and seating,
Right.
it was just bringing in the appropriate fill.
Yeah, it was just filling.
but we added $1,000 estimated for fine grading and seating as a buffer, and that came to 14,975. So,
So I was,
And that's still under like what we were predicting, if I remember.
yeah, the line item, I believe,
Insurance
was
money's more.
19
Yeah.
from insurance. So we are well under what insurance provided.
Okay, so we have a motion to continue moving.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor for second, first and second. Do we have all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Ash Street extension, we'll move that back to the administrative process.
Yeah, so we can review the quote that Gerald's gonna,
Motion to do that.
I make a motion to do.
Have a second? Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pocket Prairie, go back to community development.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Safety from 529.
I was out sick.
I have the
Thank you.
summary. Okay, the attendees were Ashley Patel, Rick Easterwood, Kathy Hyman, Jamie Schroeder, Tim Schroeder, Adam Stein, Steve Powell, Matt Sheets, Craig Warner, Noah Warner, and myself. We approved the previous meeting minutes. And I just wrote this as a summary. The only thing we discussed was the main discussion centered around Adam Stein's concerns about possible contract with Jackson Township that we're looking at. He felt that we do not have resources to provide adequate coverage. EMS members explained that Jackson is to provide first responders for contract coverage. Kathy explained a number of scenarios of coverage that is currently utilized for scheduling purposes. It was also explained that it has been emphasized numerous times that Jackson Township will need to provide the first responders. Matt Sheeks, Jackson Township trustee, acknowledged and confirmed they are working on a plan to achieve Weston EMS conditions and expected total runs to be 10 to 15 runs per year. We also then discussed the possibility of utilizing jump bags for some of the EMS personnel to have with them at all times. And Jamie Schroeder was tasked to provide information on that. Meeting was adjourned. One other item is I attended the Milton Township meeting, it was last Tuesday night's meeting. I had to go back because from an understanding that I received from Weston Township's meeting, that there were some issues that some of the trustees had brought up to another trustee, going back and forth, concerning mainly Jackson Township. So I went to clarify that situation, number one, let them know what is going on, told them what the expectations were with Jackson Township and that, you know, it'll be further discussed. I also brought up or asked the question to them because I was trying to get them to write one contract for all of Milton Township rather than us having to deal with both Milton Center and Custer separately. And I got a resounding no, that they will not be taking care of that. So that means I will have to go to Custer and Milton Center and go with Plan B, which was already thought about and passed. Again, they have no issues. The fact is that we have a few people that were kind of interfering with some things, and people better tread very lightly.
And they were getting wrong information.
That's correct. And when you start messing with government agreements back and forth, that can cause legal issues to show up. And I think the two people that better learn quickly about what's being done.
Now I want to know names.
Should have been there. So that's, that's that. Okay, anything, anybody else? If not, we're gonna go to upcoming meetings. Still on track. I did make a note on one of them, but Parks and Rec, 6-4 at 5:30, is it still go?
Yes, sir.
Cemetery, 6-5 at 6 PM, that's the standard. Administrative process, 6-9 at 6. Community Development, Public Affairs, are we still having this one and then moving?
Yes.
This one? Okay. And then we'll have to make sure we advertise that one for the 7-9 at 5:30, and Safety at 6:23 at 6 PM. Public Works at 6:24 at 6 PM.
I have one ad, Sports Initiative. They scheduled one on the 10th of June
Okay.
at 7 PM. After their baseball game, it will be at the equipment shed.
Beer provided.
Root beer, no alcohol at the parks. Okay. Now, anything for new business? Anybody got anything?
I do. Can I speak now?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if any of you guys have had the time to go out and look at the mulch that was put down at our parks that we paid seems like a tremendous amount of money.
Well, we didn't pay it. They got a grant, but that's cool.
But it was still paid for. It seems
Yes, yes.
high to me. Have you guys had a chance to look at that?
Hmm.
I would not be very happy with it.
I don't know if that's per tonnage, how we did it, or they just got a square footage.
I think square footage.
What specifically you're talking about? Thickness or?
Well, no, it obviously didn't have any pesticide or herbicide in it.
I would
It's
not think.
playground safe mulch, so it
They
probably
can't have any of
wouldn't,
that.
because
So
children.
what can we use right now currently? Because I know that they,
You can use natural stuff like vinegar, some type of vinegar base.
Yeah, if you
Home
do
solution.
use real pesticide, like the hard stuff, the parks have to be closed for, I think, 48 hours.
yeah, I know there's some time in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can use the vinegar, salt and.
Is it okay?
Surfactant.
I don't want to have to make Harold go down there and do it. Can Parks and Rec do that?
as long as you're doing the safe, as long as you're doing the safe option, all natural option type thing, because of the fact is you can't use the other stuff.
So we had the day that we had the high school kids out. And two of the mothers spent most of that morning pulling thistles out. And they're back with a vengeance. I think it looks.
I mean, unfortunately, the thistle thing's probably have to take a little more aggressive approach.
Yeah. I know that they can use, I know there's some laws on that. I mean,
We're not saying they can't use nothing professional grade. They have to close it out and we can't.
manufacturing of the mulch.
But I think it's already established, so it makes no difference. The mulch is just, they're not digging it out and putting a ground cover on. The ground cover that's probably originally there is probably
Well,
Going.
with that being said, again, it just seems like with the amount of money that the grant was for it seems like an awful waste. When you look at what you can get a ton for and
yeah.
do it ourselves.
And
Or it's better to have a lot more.
yeah, that's
Well, and wasn't this?
I think, I was gonna say, Renewed Outdoors sent me an email on what to do to prep before they put the mulch down, so I'll see if I can find that and share it with you. Cause I think they gave like what to do, and if they just, if it wasn't weeded before the mulch went down, the weeds just gonna keep coming back up through.
But, even, going out there right after it was done, I mean, there's spots where it wasn't even an inch thick.
Sure.
It just,
they shot it.
scotch, okay, it just seems like it was a lot of.
I was wondering what that horrendous noise was. And I looked back, it was like a napalm cloud of dust. It was just, but they spread it in. So I'm sure Harold thanked them for not having to do his back issues and by doing it that way, unfortunately. But yeah, we could do some.
You have to put a pre-emergent in there before.
Green should have been put down or something.
Well, yeah, pre-emergent of some type before it goes down.
Maybe next year we can close the parks for the 48 hours.
I don't know how you close the park.
Get it all done and then mulch it and
Most of that stuff is treated during manufacture, so it's sat long enough before it goes down.
The,
I'll
if you
look
want,
a little bit more.
I have formula for the salt, and I also
Well, I've
have,
got lots of salt.
yeah, yeah. But the big thing is to use in that mix is to use the higher agricultural grade vinegar. And I happen to have the 50% stuff, but you have to be careful when you're mixing it yourself. You get a good whiff of that, it'll be on your teeth.
Balmy anhydrous today.
So, but I can help you guys on that if you want to do it. That way it does kill it.
Yeah, I'd just like to put some, I mean, it
It's
looks
safe.
horrible.
Okay, so we're gonna go to miscellaneous business. Oh yeah, let's do expenditures.
Oh, I had something. I had sent you and Stephanie a proposal. for
Yes.
Ordinance.
Yes, I received I have to go back to do that.
I would,
Yeah, I wish I had that excuse.
The splitter.
And
There's the three of you.
basically what she proposes, no cell phone use during a council at all,
So that's,
unless you are physically, hey, hold on, I want to look up this particular thing.
I was gonna say, I have mine for the meetings, so like I looked up the WSI meeting.
like my thing was like,
It was brought up a couple
Silence.
times on different things from,
and that's in kind of including the audience too.
yeah.
It becomes a distraction when everyone's looking over what's going on, and so either silence, I have them out, airplane mode, you're allowed to have yours.
I will,
I don't use it for communication. I just.
No, that does, like yours is a health need.
Well, and I don't know, I mean, there are lots of people with that, so I'm not comfortable passing an ordinance that says no. I would be okay with a sign that recommends silencing your phones when you enter the meeting area, but
I
I'm
think
not.
you could add no texting. I think you could do that.
yeah, there's probably different things you can use, but
Or leave the room if you have an emergency. I mean, it's fair to say people have families. It's not fair to say you can't take a text or a call if you have an emergency in your family. That's where I'm at on that.
well, this would be a ordinance or a suggestion. I think it should go to administrative process
Sure.
for a thing,
Policies.
a copy or
So move.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
No, you gotta get a
A
second.
second.
Oh, yeah, I thought she said.
Well, I did.
Ashley had a second.
Okay,
No.
first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Now we're gonna go to, see, I was ahead of myself. I started crossing things off. Expenditure of bills. Everybody seen all the bills and everything? The folders, everybody signed them? Just point it
Yes.
out there.
I see six.
Mr.
I'm on
Warner,
like a 3 month.
Just throwing it out. I have not seen it, so I can't verify. We just need a motion to pay the
I
bill.
missed the beginning. I never signed the bank
Second.
reconciliation. I had to come
We
in.
have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. I was just looking your direction. Okay, miscellaneous business. We have a,
The Eagleville thing. first.
Eagleville 140 thing, and all that basically boils down to is they have to get approval to enter the countywide agreement. The countywide agreement, we are currently on in our EMS, our fire's currently on in our fire, just about everybody else. This is a district that just joined. In order for them to be part of that run, automatic mutual aid thing, they need to be voted in.
Who is it?
Eagleville
Eagleville.
150.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 140, right?
I didn't put the number on.
Yeah,
They
it's
just said
140.
Eagleville.
Eagleville.
West Millgrove area, I believe so. So
Up there, like
Oakdale
Eagleville
area.
area.
Yes. probably kinned up to some of you guys over there.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'll sign that when I get done with this. Brittany, Medicaid resources.
I got an email from a lady. Suggesting that Village does something about like releasing information on how to utilize Medicaid. And it kind of sounded like a good idea because most of our population is over the age of 55. But I don't really know what we would put out. So I was like, let's just throw it on an agenda and talk about it.
I think there was something I think I remember discussing or having a conversation with somebody that we currently already have stuff through our Wood County
The 211.
services, and that we definitely could advertise more on our website.
Like on the website.
Yeah, there should be I think it's under the frequently asked questions.
Medicaid is handled through Job and Family Services.
Yes.
County.
So it's county based, but I can't remember if I had a conversation with you about that maybe we should probably have it on our page.
Yeah, I know
Or a
we
quick
have a
hyperlink
thing
or something.
in the digital newsletter, and then our website has, I think it references the 211 and what they provide, like the information on, Medicaid and all that. I can't.
Is there something more that you?
Oh, yeah, it's one of the questions is, I need assistance. Where do I start? And then it says, if you're looking for help with services like Medicaid, food assistance, housing, utility support, mental health, childcare, a great place to start is contacting 211s.
I was gonna say, you mentioned age, Brittany. Did you mean Medicare?
I know, I heard that too.
Yeah, Medicaid.
55 and Medicare.
They're very different.
Different things.
Medicare is 65 and above.
Yes. And I don't know that is
I
that
was
Medicare's
thinking-
not through 211.
No, she's talking she is talking specifically about Medicaid,
I was thinking 55 and over, like we have a specific,
but there are,
for it, that's supposed to be, the sign that says 55. and over.
Well, 55 and over, Medicaid can be utilized. for
Medicaid
less.
is, I was gonna
Yes.
say no age, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
But either way, I still think 211 would
Is where you're
direct you
starting.
anyway, yeah.
For Medicare and Medicaid.
Or get you the right service.
Or any kind of assistance, you
Right,
just, hey, I
yeah.
need assistance. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Medicare, you have to go to your friendly Social Security.
I was gonna say that
Yeah.
people do have a lot of questions on and it is not.
And I don't know if I want to open that Pandora's box to give somebody information on something that we have no control over.
Lito, they have seminar every weekend.
Yeah,
Do we have like the veterans stuff on there for the veterans if they need help?
211.
211 would.
Is this everything, this 211?
Yeah.
They will direct you about anywhere.
No.
Oh, it is everything.
I've called
It's
211 before to get
everything.
food assistance, and you have to go through a lot of different like menus, and you can eventually talk to a person. They're like, okay, so why are you calling? And
And the website, if you want to skip the number, they have a website that lists, it's very extensive.
Nice.
I also know the school.
Yes.
Kevin O'Shea has said that they have like a telephone book of references
Yeah.
I
for
think it's actually linked on
everything.
their website. It's
Yeah.
called like the community, directory or something like
Yes.
that.
All right. Does that answer your questions on that?
I had no questions. I just want to talk about it.
We talked about it. Does that answer the talking question thing? Okay. So now we're going to go to the citizens and some people in, oh, nothing? You sure? You keep that pen though. Hey, Ron Dallas, you got anything?
Stephanie, I believe that I believe the OSHA grant for the safety grant is coming up in July. Is that correct or not correct?
You cut out a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, the OSHA safety grant, I believe is coming back around in July.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been on that website in a few weeks. So I can let our grant writer know about that it's open back up. That's good to know.
Yeah, they reached out to me. I contacted someone at OSHA and they said that it'll be revised again and be able to apply to it in July. So just bringing that to note.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Mr. Patel?
Tell them to get dinner on.
Just a quick comment. I agree with Mr. Meyerholz about the downtown districting and requiring them to do something, because you just passed a resolution to pay for two businesses for 500 cups each. And then if you turn around and pass another one for other businesses to pay to be in existence of business, not a good idea.
Okay.
And
Anything?
that's it.
Okay.
I don't think anybody was stressed.
If he was thinking. I was thinking of something too, but I forgot.
You want Doug one more
You're not
time?
allowed.
Oh, you good?
Oh,
No, we were going
This is
through
visitors.
citizens and visitors, so.
just so we're clear that we are moving forward on the Sportscape project at the pickleball and basketball thing. I see some caution tape out there.
Oh, yeah, we do have, so once the asphalt is done, they will come in and set the anchors and the sleeves. And that has to set usually about a week, and then the equipment can be installed, but the lines can't go on for another 30 days once the asphalt is cured. So we won't see like the full,
Effect of it.
but we should be able to be using it. It's just there won't be lines on it yet, so. After they finish today, we're gonna put some pictures on the Facebook page and stuff and give an update with that information on it as well, so people know. We've gotten quite a few calls about pickleball, so.
I'm ready.
And yeah,
The juveniles.
okay,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
211 for Medicaid,
811 to dig, and it's 911 if you get hurt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I did clarify the full basketball court is 74 by 50, Ron. So it's 10 feet under, and that's their recommendation on the sports park court. So. Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody's quick on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.